So, ladies and gentlemen, PDTV had an exclusive interview with Zulieka Jess, and I wanted to react to it because there were some things that she had mentioned, and there were some key questions that um, Andre Stevens had asked her, and I would love to give my commentary on it. So let's get into it, ladies and gentlemen.
Lady Justice, Lady Jess right now on the platform. Are you hearing me now?
Hi, good night, Andre. I'm hearing you loud and clear.
Awesome. Welcome, Lady Jess. For some time now, you have been speaking about the injustices that the Jamaican people have been met with. I saw your post today on social media, right after the minister received the unfortunate situation with the police. What do you want to say to the government tonight about what has really transpired?
Well, I wish to start by making it clear that I find it to be an alarming incident. It simply confirms what so many ordinary Jamaicans have been complaining about for months and years in terms of the systemic issues surrounding police conduct, the way that some police officers interact with the ordinary Jamaicans. And when I made the post this morning, I spoke about the fact that first they came for the youth on the corner, and we said nothing because we said it was just garrison politics or garrison incidents. Then they came for the market vendor and the taxi operators, and we said nothing because we said that those incidents and those matters do not concern us. And now they come for the minister of government, a government official, a front bench minister,
a senior
member of the government. And all of a sudden, people are acting as though they are shocked. This is what ordinary Jamaicans have been going through in almost a routine manner. It has only now happened to somebody in a prominent position, which has garnered widespread attention. But it's really just an indication of what persons have been dealing with and persons have been complaining about. I am hopeful that the minister will use this incident to champion the causes that Jamaicans have long been asking us as politicians to champion. And let me make it clear, I am not anti-police. I support the police in the work that they do insofar as it is within the confines of the law. We want them to do well because we understand that the job that they have is a difficult one, but we also want law and order, and we want fairness, and we want persons to be treated like human beings. When the incident happened with Bujo a few weeks ago, maybe a month and a half ago, so there were so many persons on a particular who responded in an unfortunate manner. Just in the parliament, maybe a week and a half ago, we would have heard the Minister of Justice come out and say, Jamaica doesn't have a human rights issue. Yes, we've heard the Prime Minister, issue strong statements about telling ordinary Jamaicans to prepare to meet their maker. Correct. And I'm just happy and thankful that the minister today he never met his maker, thankfully. But it goes to show that you do have some men and women in uniform who shoot first, or in this case, spray first and ask questions later. If the minister's account is correct, and by his account, which is set out in various publications, the Gleaner, the Observer, he states that he was just trying to maintain the peace. He was trying to do his duty as an elected member of parliament, and he was pepper sprayed. He was directly pepper sprayed and I say directly because I heard the narrative that some persons tried to twist and interject to say that, it was just almost like an incidental matter that arose and that there was no direct intent. But the minister is saying that he was directly pepper sprayed for trying to intervene and maintaining a sort of balance. By his account, he says that he said to the officer, hold on, and he was then pepper sprayed.
And that is significant, ladies and gentlemen, because he's on record saying that he said he sprayed him 3 times. I watched the interview on CBM TV. So that is supremely important as data. I mean, if let's just roll with a scenario right now. I'm not saying that this is what happened because I wasn't there. Suppose Desmond McKenzie is lying on the officer because of his status. Officer, you see why the body worn cameras is going to protect you? If you're in the right, I just wanted to throw that out there. Let's continue.
So it simply goes to show that we have a long way to go in this country, and We need to, as old time people would say, and Andre, we need to take sleep and mark death, because today it is the minister, tomorrow it
could
might
be
be
the Prime
you
Minister.
or me
Dead.
or anybody at all. So we can't feel as though these incidents are not
Yes.
connected.
So I want to ask you, Lady Jess, the government has continuously and consistently defended the crime-fighting strategies of the police force. Do incidents like these suggest that there needs to be a greater oversight of the police operations within Jamaica?
Absolutely. And one thing that jumps out to my mind, and I'm sure a number of Jamaicans are asking the question this evening, what about the body cams? What about the body worn cameras? You know, we've heard from the minister his account, but I would love an independent, impartial account that only the body cam footage would provide. We're not able to get that. That's a conversation that we should be having, because if God forbid and something more serious had happened, whether it is to the minister or anybody else, we would be left in a state where, and I have to pause because I think it's important to note this, Andre, because I was looking, and you are very connected. You can tell me if I missed it, but I was looking for a release, the usual customary release from the JCF, you know, essentially to say that the victim is at fault. I haven't seen that. Thanks.
A direct shot at the JCF. Talk up the things them, Zulieka, Jess. Where's the release? When the regular citizens come out and say police them do this, and the police them in a wrong, and come out and send up release. The police are in the right, and the police was doing their job and around the defend. Where the blur not released there. Kevin Blake, Dr. Kevin Blake, were released there. Wait there. That was such a Zulieka, Jess. Yes, justice. Justice is blind. Love your hey. Pick up yourself, Zulieka, Jess.
Fully, as yet, at least. But this is normally what tends to flow from incidents where there are confrontations. You hear the victims or the families of the victims come out and they give a version, and then almost instantaneously you hear a different narrative being
from
propelled
the JCF.
From the JCF.
We have heard nothing from the police high command to date about the situation with the minister. I am appalled that we have heard nothing, Jamaica. So you are contending that had the body worn cameras been placed, we would have known who the police is to have pepper sprayed, and then probably actions could have been taken.
I think if there were body worn cameras, we would have known what happened prior to the minister being pepper sprayed, what would have precipitated such a drastic step being taken towards the minister. All we have is just the minister's account, and I would have loved to hear, you know, an impartial view as to really what transpired. For now, the minister's account is all we can go by, and we have to accept it because there is no competing narrative.
So, you have been speaking some time now about the injustices happening in this country. Today, what has happened? It has reached the government's doorstep. And I am sure the ordinary Jamaicans are messaging you and say, Lady Jess, it reached them doorstep now. Serve them right. They know what we're feeling. How do you respond to those thousands and myriads of Jamaicans who are saying, boy, they're happy it reached this man?
This was the perfect question. This was a key question. And I want you guys to listen carefully to the answer. Because a lot of people are feeling that way. Like, yeah, man, happen to them. And now they can know what people that feel. Listen to the answer.
You know, I can sympathize with the view, because there is always this feeling that politicians and some persons in society are immune from the ordinary things that affect day-to-day Jamaicans. So I can sympathize with that feeling, but I would also urge caution. I would urge caution because I have learned from experience, Andre, that today it is a JLP minister of government. Tomorrow it is a pastor. The day after, it can be an innocent student who is caught in an unfortunate incident. And so for me, justice is blind, and I am for justice no matter who it is for or against. And in this case, the minister is on the receiving end of the police conduct. I understand the need in some instances because people feel vindicated now, people feel justified, but there's nothing for me personally to smile about. It's actually a reminder. In fact, it is an alarming reminder of the type of state that we're living in, where some of those who are charged with the duty to serve and protect are actually doing the very opposite of what we would like for them to do. And so for me, it is cause for us to pause as a nation and see how best we can introduce measures to ensure that these type of incidents are actually reduced. I know that you're not going to get rid of them altogether, but you can try and see how you can minimize them. It's becoming too much of a pattern now. It's not just an isolated incident anymore. It's like every month we have another incident in the news of something surrounding the conduct of officers. And it gives the good officers in the JCF a bad name. It gives the good officers a bad reputation. And that's something that I am very, very concerned about because, like I said, I know that there are good, law-abiding, respectful officers. And it's only unfortunate that when you have incidents, and let me be clear, I'm not saying that the officer in this instant acted unprofessionally. I know the minister is said in a particular headline that it was unnecessary. I do not know because, like I said, there's no independent account as to how the incident actually arose. So I'm not casting blame against a specific officer in this particular incident. I'm using the situation just to make the point that it is time for us to have the conversation because it's not just limited. These things aren't just limited to one set of persons alone. And now that it is affecting all of us, persons who aren't you. Affected by these things, hopes alone, because it's not just limited. These things aren't just limited to one set of persons alone. And now that it is affecting all of us, persons who aren't usually affected by these things, hopefully they will lend their voices to support the calls that people like yourself and myself have been making for a long time.
So we're calling on the persons them who want to defend the police them behavior, like Desmond McKenzie, to advocate on behalf of persons that have felt the stick, the hard end of the stick. Don't wait till they come on your doorstep. Do not wait. Make sure that you support law in every way, and that means the police have to also adhere to the law, not just citizens, and also the politician have to adhere to the law as well. Yes, and I never know. Can't stay there. Book a big up yourself.
I want you, as we wrap up this interview, if you were in the position of the minister today, that's Desmond McKenzie, what would you want to be done?
If I were in the position of the minister, I would, as a senior member of cabinet, as someone who has the prime minister's ear,
Yes,
someone who can,
he surely does have the prime minister's ears.
Absolutely. And someone who can actually effect change, not just advocate for it, but he sits in rooms where the ordinary Jamaicans are absent. He has a voice that carries a certain level of weight that the ordinary Jamaican doesn't have. I would hope that after this incident, Andre, the minister will, one, use this as an opportunity to indicate his support for the use of body-worn cameras by police officers and the agents of the state. And two, call for a systemic reform in how we police and carry out policing. Call for certain training to be implemented for almost a reduced use on the excessive use of force. I would hope that the minister would use his platform to effect real meaningful change as a result of this incident.
I mean, come on, man. A round of applause for a well-articulated Zulieka, Jess, ladies and gentlemen, in regards to this issue. Yeah, I believe that's what is necessary. That's what is needed. I agree with everything that you said. It's unfortunate that it came to their doorstep. And if this is what it takes for them to wake up and realize what the people are talking about with the police and there's an actual crisis. For Desmond McKenzie to be a part of the government and others and her Delroy get up and say that Jamaica don't have a human rights issue, ladies and gentlemen. You know, let me find that clip. So there's my name Delroy Chuck. Remember when Delroy Chuck said this, ladies and gentlemen?
If you don't believe me, Jamaica, take a look at what Delroy Chuck said in the parliament. Listen to this.
Human rights is a very important part of this government and of this minister.
Yes.
And as I go across the country, I promote the respect for one another's human rights.
Yes, yes.
And I will continue to do it.
Yes.
I can tell you that when we reported to the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights and the Universal Periodic Review, we got very good commendation.
Yes.
Jamaica does not, and I hope will never have a human rights problem. We have the Office of the Public Defender. If you have a difficulty, Jamaica does not, and I hope will never have a human rights problem. Periodic review, we got very good commendation.
Yes.
Jamaica does not, and I hope will never have a human rights problem. We have the Office of the Public Defender. If you have a difficulty, you can go to the Office of the Public Defender and prosecute any human rights breach. They are empowered to prosecute any human rights breach.
So, you know, it really seems as if this man was off his rockers, ladies and gentlemen. It seems as if his brain was not functioning quite properly on that day. Because here we have a human rights issue. You can't say we don't have an issue and then say they can go and get some type of, resolve. It means you would have to have an issue and to go and resolve it. Not because there is a avenue for you to resolve an issue means that there isn't any issue. That's like saying women are not being raped in Jamaica because when they are raped, they can go to the police station and report it, and then the person it's like saying women are not being abused in Jamaica because when they are abused, there's a system in place for them to get legal help and also counsel and all of that. It doesn't negate the fact that they are being abused. And his colleagues sat behind him. Credit to them, they didn't beat the bench, but they did not protest. They did not say no. You can't say that. That is not true. Stand on a point of order or something. Protest. No, Delhi, you're wrong. You're wrong about this one. But lies perpetuated, ladies and gentlemen. Look at them now. Very, very sad. Very unfortunate. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section.